Hi, I'm Dr. Marci Liittlefield, and this is a short video on research methods. Research methods are how sociologists understand how to research the social world. That's how we understand all the things that we know, because they are done through a research process called the scientific method. There are a number of ways that we conduct research. Using the empirical method, we use 6 primary research methods. We do surveys, we do in-depth interviews, we do experiments, we do focus groups, observations, and secondary analysis. Most of you are familiar with some of these. Surveys are one that you've most probably come in contact with. That's where you select a sample, and that sample gives some context. You ask people questions, and then based on those responses to those questions, you get an understanding of what a social phenomena is. For instance, one way that we understand how elections, for instance, this is an election year, and one way that we understand how elections are, who may win, has to do with how they conduct surveys. Part of that has to do with a random sample. A random sample is a way of collecting material where you make sure that every person in the target population has the same chance of being included in the study. If you do that, then you can conclude that if you do a random sample and you select so many people out of the population, you can understand what the whole population will do based on that random sample. A lot of research methods that you usually use in school are secondary analysis, where you look at the data that's collected by other researchers and other studies, and you analyze those documents. Those documents are written sources of data, and they can also be archival material that help you to understand research. Well, that's really important because it helps you to understand what people have already said about the things that you're interested in. Another way of doing research are participant observations. That's where you go and you do a study based on a group of people. In this particular example, a sociologist and the author of a book, Gang Leader for a Day, he spent years conducting participant observations in Chicago in a project, the Robert Taylor Homes, which is where he's standing now. That's where they once stood. That was a really crime-ridden project in Chicago, and he wanted to understand what gangs look like, and that's one way that he did that. Another example is content analysis. Jean Kerbel, she did a lot of films, some of which you may be familiar with, which you can also find on YouTube, where she looked at the media and how the media really gives women the wrong influences, and it really influences women and girls because of what they propose. The last part that I want to talk about are ethics and experiments. This picture is from the 1971 Stanford prison experiment, which this experiment was a research study where they asked participants to participate in a environment where prisoners and the guards were all participants who decided to sign up for the study, and they were in a setting as if they were in prison. That particular experiment was important because the participants in the experiments really acted out as if they were really the guards and really prisoners. And it was really detrimental to their health over time. And this particular experiment gave a lot of information about ethics and research. What projects should you do and what projects should you not do? Thank you.